Here's a *** 500 word expansion of power of sovereignty, *** in the same high-energy, motivational style you asked for, without mentioning the title at the beginning or end. Strength is not measured only by the size of an army, the number of aircraft in the skies, or the weight of nuclear warheads hidden in silos. True strength begins with an uncompromising belief. ***, no force on earth has the right to dictate the destiny of a free people. ***, this belief is the heartbeat of a nation. It is the unshakable conviction that our land, our skies, and our future belong to us, and us alone. Every empire that rose in history tried to stretch its influence beyond its borders. They sought to impose their will, to show dominance by intimidation, to claim control over others in the name of power. Yet, history is equally filled with moments where smaller nations, underestimated and dismissed, stood tall and said, ***, you will come no further. ***, that line in the sand, that unmovable stance, has always been the turning point where respect replaces arrogance. Think about it. What does it take to stand against a force that is bigger, louder, and more advanced? It takes more than machinery. It takes courage. It takes leaders who refuse to bow, soldiers who refuse to step back, and citizens who refuse to surrender their pride. This is the essence of sovereignty, a refusal to be dictated to, no matter the odds. When a nation defends its skies, it's not just protecting airspace. It is sending a message to the world. It is saying, ***, we are not for sale, we are not for compromise, we are not for intimidation. ***, the border is not just a geographical line. It is the embodiment of identity, culture, and dignity. To let it be violated without resistance is to admit defeat before the battle even begins. But here's the real power. Sovereignty does not end at the border. It lives in the classrooms where children learn the truth of their history. It breathes in the factories where workers build with pride. It thrives in the hearts of people who believe that no outside power can control their destiny, that unity becomes an invisible shield stronger than steel, stronger than missiles, stronger than fear. The world respects only those who respect themselves. The moment a nation bows its head, the moment it compromises its self-respect, it invites others to dictate terms. But when a nation stands tall, when it looks into the eyes of giants and refuses to blink, it earns something greater than safety. It earns respect. And respect is the foundation of true power. This is why the greatest victories are not written in numbers or statistics. They are written in the unyielding spirit of a people who chose to protect what was theirs. The lesson is clear. Strength does not come from domination. It comes from defending your right to exist with pride, with dignity, and with honor. Here's your *** 500 word expansion of David vs. Goliath moment, ***, written in a motivational and powerful tone, without mentioning the title at the beginning or the end. Throughout history, the world has celebrated not the stories of overwhelming force crushing the weak, but the moments where the underestimated stood up and redefined what was possible. The giants of the world, those with bigger armies, louder voices, and seemingly unlimited resources, have always believed they could dictate outcomes. But every so often, someone smaller, someone overlooked, someone who was never supposed to win, stepped into the arena and changed everything. What makes these moments unforgettable is not size, but spirit. It is the determination of the one who refuses to be crushed under the shadow of the giant. The world expects them to surrender. The world expects them to step aside. Yet, instead of retreating, they rise. They pick up courage in their hands like a weapon, and they prove that the heart of a fighter weighs more than the armor of a giant. Think about the courage it takes to face an adversary far stronger than you. To look at overwhelming power, to feel its pressure, to see its machinery, and still whisper to yourself, ***, I will not bend. ***, that is not just bravery. It is defiance against inevitability, and it is in that defiance that history is rewritten. The truth is, giants are not invincible. They are heavy with arrogance, blind with overconfidence, and clumsy with the assumption that no one can challenge them. They may have weapons of steel, but the smaller challenger has weapons of belief, adaptability, and resilience. And when belief collides with arrogance, the outcome is often shocking. This lesson applies not only to nations and battles, but to every aspect of life. Whether it is an individual fighting against impossible odds, a community rising against injustice, or a country defending its borders against a mightier power, the principle remains the same. Size is irrelevant when spirit is unbreakable. What the world remembers most is not the roar of the giant, but the strike of the one who dared to aim high. The power of such a moment is that it inspires millions. It whispers to the weak that they are stronger than they think. It shouts to the oppressed that freedom is worth fighting for, and it teaches the powerful a lesson they often forget. Respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned. The most extraordinary victories are not born from overwhelming dominance, but from unlikely defiance. The greatest stories are not those of giants maintaining control, but of challengers refusing to surrender. These moments remind us that even when the odds are stacked, even when defeat looks certain, there is always a chance to strike back and win. In the end, it's not about the size of the enemy, but about the size of the will to fight. And when that will is stronger than fear, it has the power to bring down giants. Here's the **500 word expansion of Unshakable Borders, written in a powerful, motivational style without mentioning the title at the beginning or end. A line on a map may look simple, but in reality, it carries the weight of identity, sacrifice, and survival. That line represents centuries of history, generations of struggle, and the promise of a future worth protecting. It is not just geography. It is dignity drawn in ink and defended in blood. Every nation is defined not only by what lies within its boundaries, but by its ability to safeguard those boundaries. A border is more than soil. It is the heartbeat of sovereignty. It says to the world, this is who we are. This is where we stand. This is what cannot be taken from us. To allow it to be crossed without resistance is not just a loss of territory. It is a loss of honor. What makes a border powerful is not the barbed wire, not the watchtowers, not the weapons stationed there. It is the spirit of the people who declare, "You shall not pass." It is the soldier standing guard through freezing nights and scorching days, knowing that every heartbeat is a shield for millions back home. It is the farmer tilling land near the frontier, refusing to abandon his soil even in the shadow of danger. It is unity that makes boundaries unbreakable. History teaches us that borders are constantly tested. Invaders have always tried to push through, to redraw maps, to weaken nations by violating what they hold sacred. But time and again, those who defended with conviction proved that a determined people cannot be erased. When a nation stands shoulder to shoulder, it transforms its borders into walls of steel, invisible yet impenetrable. And here lies the greater truth. Protecting a border is not just about keeping enemies out. It is about keeping the spirit of a nation alive. It is about reminding the world that freedom has a price and that dignity has defenders. The soil behind that line belongs not to any outsider, but to the children who will inherit it, the citizens who work it, and the heroes who gave their lives for it. When the world sees a nation guarding its frontiers with resolve, respect follows. Because respect is not granted to those who compromise. It is granted to those who draw their line and defend it, no matter the challenge. It is a declaration that says, we will never be moved, we will never be broken, we will never surrender what is ours. In that firmness lies the true power of endurance. In that unshakable stance lies the very definition of strength. A border is not just a line of defense, it is a line of identity. And when it stands firm, it tells the world that a nation's pride, its people, and its future are untouchable. Here's the **** 500 word expansion of message to the world, ***, written in a motivational, commanding style, without mentioning the title at the beginning or end. Every action taken by a nation speaks louder than words. When a country rises to defend its skies, its land, and its people, it is not only an act of protection, it is a declaration heard across continents. The world watches, and in that moment, it learns exactly what that nation stands for. Power is not just shown in the number of weapons displayed at parades or the sophistication of fighter jets. Power is shown in resolve. When a nation refuses to bow, it delivers a message more powerful than any speech, more enduring than any treaty. It tells the world, ***, we decide our destiny, we choose our path, we set our limits. ***, this is why moments of resistance echo far beyond the battlefield. They are not isolated incidents, they are symbols. They tell allies that loyalty is justified and warn adversaries that aggression will be met with steel. They inspire smaller nations to stand tall, reminding them that strength is not measured only in numbers but in courage. The significance of such acts cannot be underestimated. They redefine perception. They force the world to view a nation not as vulnerable but as unshakable. And in international affairs, perception often becomes reality. When the world respects your boundaries, your culture, and your voice, you have already secured a form of victory before the first shot is fired. But the deeper impact lies in the hearts of the people who belong to that nation. When they see their defenders draw the line and hold it, a fire ignites within them. Pride surges, unity grows, and a belief takes root. ***, if we can stand against giants, then nothing is impossible. ***, that spirit spreads like a wave through cities, villages, and generations. It becomes a source of strength that no outside power can break. At the same time, adversaries take notice. They realize that intimidation will not work, that coercion will fail, and that what they thought was weakness is in fact unyielding resolve. The very act of holding the line becomes a warning. ***, think twice before you test us again. ***, that is how deterrence is built, not just with weapons, but with unwavering conviction. And beyond enemies and allies, there are those who simply observe. To them, a nation's stand becomes an example. It teaches the world that sovereignty is not a privilege handed out by stronger powers. It is a right earned through resilience. It demonstrates that dignity cannot be bought, that freedom cannot be traded, and that unity cannot be defeated. In this way, a single act of defense transforms into a timeless statement. It outlives headlines, it outshines propaganda, and it echoes long after the moment has passed. What the world hears is clear. Here stands a people who will not be moved, a nation that commands respect, and a spirit that refuses to bow. Here's the ***, 500 word expansion of unity as air defense, ***, written in a motivational and commanding tone without mentioning the title at the beginning or the end. When threats rise in the sky, radar systems and missiles are only part of the defense. The real shield is invisible. It is the strength of a people standing together, refusing to fracture under pressure. A nation's greatest weapon is not technology, it is solidarity. History shows us that even the strongest fortresses fall when the people within are divided. No wall is high enough, no system advanced enough, if the citizens behind it are fractured, doubting, or disconnected. But when a nation unites, when every heart beats with the same rhythm of loyalty, its defense becomes impenetrable. No aircraft, no invasion, no enemy strategy can penetrate a people determined to guard their homeland with one voice. Think about it. A soldier on the front line draws strength not only from the weapon in his hands, but from the millions behind him. A pilot protecting the skies flies not only with training, but with the prayers, trust, and support of his people. Every citizen becomes part of the shield. The farmer feeding the soldier, the teacher inspiring the child, the worker building the economy, all of them contribute to the same mission, protecting the nation. This unity is what transforms fear into resilience. An adversary may look at advanced equipment and feel confident, but what they cannot measure is the spirit of a united people. Machines can be destroyed, but the will of millions standing together cannot be broken. That spirit itself becomes a warning. We are not just defending land, we are defending our families, our freedom, our future. Unity also destroys the greatest weapon of an aggressor, division. Enemies often try to infiltrate not with bombs but with propaganda, not with jets but with doubt. They hope to break the backbone of a nation from within, to turn people against each other, to weaken resolve before the battle even begins. But when citizens stand shoulder to shoulder, refusing to be manipulated, they shut down the enemy's most dangerous tactic. And unity inspires. When one person rises with courage, it sparks another, and then another, until the entire nation is ablaze with determination. Fear dissolves when you know you are not standing alone. That collective energy radiates like an unbreakable shield, invisible but undeniable. This is why nations that endure are those that remember the true source of their strength, the people themselves. Technology can fail, strategies can collapse, but a nation united cannot be conquered. The adversary may have jets that roar louder, weapons that strike harder, but when faced with the force of millions standing as one, they realize the truth. Victory against such unity is impossible. In the end, the strongest defense is not built in factories or found in arsenals. It is built in the hearts of a people who refuse to break apart, who rise together, and who declare with one voice that their homeland is sacred and untouchable. Here's the *** 500 word expansion of future of power ***, written in a bold, motivational style without mentioning the title at the beginning or end. The battles of tomorrow will not be decided solely by the size of armies or the weight of weapons. They will be shaped by vision, by discipline, and by the relentless pursuit of strength, rooted in conviction. The true leaders of the future will not simply inherit power. They will earn it through resilience, innovation, and an unshakable will. Every era in history has been defined by those who dared to rise above limits. In ancient times, power belonged to those who controlled land. Later, it shifted to those who commanded the seas. Then it belonged to those who ruled the skies. But today, and even more tomorrow, power will belong to those who can adapt, unite, and inspire. It will not just be about what a nation holds in its arsenal. It will be about the spirit of its people, the clarity of its purpose, and the courage of its choices. Strength that lasts is not built overnight. It is built in schools where children are taught to dream beyond boundaries. It is built in research labs where innovation fuels independence. It is built in the hearts of citizens who refuse to be spectators and instead become protectors of their nation's destiny. That is where tomorrow's power will rise, not in the noise of dominance, but in the silence of preparation. The nations that endure are not those that boast today, but those that prepare for tomorrow. They invest in their youth, they strengthen their unity, they protect their dignity. They understand that weapons may defend land, but wisdom secures the future. Technology may give an edge, but discipline gives permanence. Numbers may intimidate, but conviction decides victory. The future belongs to those who refuse to bow. It belongs to the nations that say, "We are not waiting for permission. We will carve our own path." It belongs to people who rise from challenges stronger than before, who transform obstacles into stepping stones, and who turn every setback into a launch pad for greater heights. What makes this vision unstoppable is the belief that no giant is too big, no threat too great, no barrier too high for a united and determined people. The next generation of power will not come from domination, but from self-reliance. Not from fear, but from respect. Not from submission, but from courage. And when the world looks to the horizon, it will not ask who shouted the loudest today, but who stood the tallest when it mattered most. The true measure of power is not in the roar of a single moment, but in the legacy of strength passed down for generations. That is what defines greatness. That is what shapes destiny.